to today's program organized by the LASUCOM Alumni Academic Committee, themed Acing Commonwealth Scholarships. And our guest speaker today is Dr Salmah Yusuf-Awesu. You are welcome, Dr. Salmah, and you are welcome, everyone. So before we go ahead, I would like to introduce the host of this event, in person of Dr. Abdrashid Lawal, to give us the introduction and welcoming point of view. So over to you, Dr. Abdrashid.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Yeah. Can you hear me clearly, please?
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I welcome you all to this virtual gathering organized by the Lagos State University College of Medicine Muslim Alumni Academic Committee. My name is Aminat Akintola. I'm a medical doctor and alumnus of the Great Citadel of Learning, Lagos State University College of Medicine, and one of the organizers of this webinar. So over time, we realized that a lot of people are interested in postgraduate studies abroad, but they don't have the fund for it. Then scholarship comes to the rescue, but it appears far-fetched. We don't even know what to do. We don't know how to apply. And because of this, a lot of scholarship dreams have died. And then sometimes too, we just summon courage and we don't even know how to go about it. We write our essays, there's nobody to review them for us. And that's one of the things that have actually birthed this webinar. So I implore every one of us to pay rapt attention and seek clarifications when the time arises. Thank you very much and welcome once again.
Thank you, Dr. Aminat, for the opening remark. So at this point, we'll be moving to the purpose of this webinar. The person that will be anchoring this for us is Dr. Aminat. Still over to you.
Yeah, I thought I just did that already. Like I've told us the essence of the gathering is to talk about, okay, the step-by-step process of Commonwealth scholarship, and also to give us the opportunity to reach out to Commonwealth scholars that can help us review our applications when we are done. That sums it up. Like that's it basically. So I guess we can just go straight into the program proper. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. At this point in time, we'll be introducing our amiable guest speaker today in person of Dr. Salmah Yusuf. So, Dr. Salmah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Dr. Salmah is a doctor who had a first degree in physics in 2006. She graduated with MBBS in 2013 and became a member of National Postgraduate Medical College in 2019 and subsequently became a member of West Africa College of Surgeons in 2020. She's currently a senior registrar in Obstetrics and Gynecology Department of LUTH, currently MPH in the University of Manchester. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Salmah Yusuf-Awesu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Yusuf-Awesu.
Okay, noted, ma'am. So at this point in time, our guest would like to know some pertinent on how to become a Commonwealth scholars. First of all, I would like to know about the worth of this scholarship.
Okay. The Commonwealth scholarship is one of the various available scholarships that we can afford ourselves and tap into that opportunity to pursue our postgraduate studies in the UK and any other part of the world. So the Commonwealth scholarship is basically for Commonwealth nations, so Commonwealth countries that were basically colonized by the British. And so their own main aim is just to help with further, despite the fact that most of the countries have gotten their independence, they still feel they can help them, since most of them fall into the low and middle income countries. They still feel they can help them to develop their countries. So if one is awarded the scholarship, well, it varies because they run various types of scholarship programs, but it's a fully funded scholarship depending on the kind of program that you put in for. And well, I will not really be able to give you like exact figures, like this is the worst, but what you should know is if you have a scholarship that you have to go there, like on-site scholarship, on-site master scholarship, or full-time scholarships that have to go to the UK throughout the period, then the scholarship would what your airfare goes to the UK when you're about to start the program and at the end of your program. And at times during the middle of the year, they give you another opportunity to come home and then go back. So they pay fully for that. They give you some stipends to spend over $1,000 depending on which city of the United Kingdom you are. For those people in London, because it's quite expensive to stay there, they give them a bit more money to stay there. Then they give them travel allowances too, because during the course of your program, it might warrant that you need to travel to other parts of the UK or other parts of the country. So if that is applicable to your study, then you would also be, all the funds required for that to be taken care of. They give you stipends if one is a widow or a single parent. They give you stipends to take care of your children, which might not necessarily be 100% to take care of your children and other family members, but at least something to support you with. So it's always a very full package, and it's something that I feel that we should all tap into. If it were to be the distance learning program, that one you don't need to go to the UK to study. You're in your home country. So, but they'll be responsible for the tuition that you're going to need for that study. If there will probably be any other traveling that is warranted during the course of study, they would also take care of that. So I think that answers that question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salmah, for that robust answer. For that robust answer you just given to us. So while you were talking, you mentioned that some stipends will be given. So does this mean that now, if someone is married, will the stipend be enough to even manage something with the family and also over there, or the wife has to work, or maybe, as the case may be, dependents might be involved?
Well, basically, as regards the what they have for now, number one, as a Commonwealth scholar, you are not actually required to work. Like you just go there and then you begin to work. You probably need to have some agreement with them as regards that.
Okay.
So which eventually means that they would need to make sure that they are reasonably comfortable to a certain extent. But
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Salmah.
But as regards to your children, they will definitely give you some stipends, like for a first child. For people that are widowed, single parents, divorced, I think. All right, no problem.
Yeah, with you, Dr. Salmah.
Okay, so I was saying that for your children, for instance, for the first child, I think
Can I help with that
depending
question?
on the
Okay,
program
so
that
hello,
you're
Dr.
going in
Salmah.
for, they give about 155 pounds for the first child.
Dr. Ismail wants to help with that
Hello, I can
question.
hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, okay. All right.
Yes, I can hear you. Initially, you were breaking.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, so Dr. Salmah. Okay, where's the network? Hello?
Yes, I'm with you. Hello, I can hear you. I'm with you. I can hear you. Hello, can you
Hello,
hear
Dr.
me? I
Salmah.
can hear you clearly. Hello, I can hear you very well.
Okay, good.
Hello?
So thank you very much for the answer. Okay, thank you very much for the answer. So at this point, I would like us to move to the next item here that involves could you please give us a step-by-step method that a person can apply with? So the first thing, secondly, in a chronological order, so people can take note of this and try to take advantage of this webinar.
Okay, well, step by step on how to apply. The first
Yes.
thing is that you have to be interested, of course, and then you have to get information, just like is the essence of this webinar that we're having. To get a further full detailed information, we can always visit their Commonwealth scholarship website. You have all the details there. So one needs to be eligible to be able to benefit from the scholarship. And eligibility would mean that you are a permanent resident of a Commonwealth nation, or you're a citizen, or you have a refugee status in that particular country. So all the Commonwealth nations, and it's not all the Commonwealth countries that are available for all the programs. At times there will be some programs that some countries will be left out of. So you need to find out this particular course you want to do, is your own nation as a Commonwealth nation part, is it involved in this particular program? So that's the first thing. You need to be eligible for that. Then, like I said, there are different scholarship programs they have, basically for master's programs and also for PhD programs. So depending on the one you want to do, after certifying that you're eligible, the next thing, which is also common for all of them, is that you need to have an admission in a UK university. So by the time you go, if a particular advert comes out for a particular program, like currently I think the advert for the Commonwealth Master Scholarship is out now, that will be ending by November 1st. For that particular program, for instance, just like with the other ones, you need to get a UK admission, you need to get an admission into a UK university for a master's program. That's what is common to all of them. And I tell you, it's quite easy to get an admission into any of those UK schools. So what you just do is go to the website and try to find out the schools and the courses that are available. Usually for the Commonwealth Scholarship, they broke down the courses into 6 developmental schemes, so to speak. So you have health, you have global issues, and about 4 other ones too. So you need to identify which area you are interested in and the course that you also want to do. Then you go to the website, they have a list of schools and the list of the courses that you can do. So you pick the schools and try to secure an admission. To secure an admission in a UK school, at least based on the little I know, is not difficult at all. Just present all that you have based on their own requirements, and it's likely you'll be given an admission. And it's also advisable that you can apply to more than one school so that your chances of getting the Commonwealth scholarship would be high. So you can apply for a particular course or even for different courses. Just increase your chances by applying to several schools. Usually within 4 to 6 weeks, you should be able to, even that is even too long, it might be shorter than that, you should be able to get an admission into the UK, into any UK university that you are interested in and the course you want to do. Then after securing an admission, then you go ahead to the application proper. So the application oftentimes is always online, where they'll ask you, you give some information about your personal details, then your employment history. Then another important thing during the application is if you have publications. These are things that would increase your chances of being selected. So if you have done any research, probably in this part of the world, we usually don't give pay so much attention to publishing our works, but we can begin to do that now. Even surprisingly, works that we did in our community health project, if we do a very good work, there are things that we can publish and they will help us when we want to apply for programs like this. So then those will be requested of you. Then there will be parts where you will be asked to write some write-ups, let me put it that way, or essays, if you want to call it that way. So those essays would be basically on developmental impact. There are like 4 of them. One of them would ask you the new skill that you're about to apply for that you're about to get from the course you're applying for. Now, how is it going to benefit you? What are your long-term plans? What's your 5-year plan and things like that? Then personal statement. Then you would also be required to provide information of like 2 or 3 referees. Those referees would be asked to make comments about you directly to the Commonwealth Scholarship Board. And then they will ask for like 1 or 2 credentials, like your transcripts from school and then your passport. So basically those are just the steps that are required. So once you are done and you submit your application, you just wait for about 1 to 2 months, then you would get a reply if you've been chosen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Dr. Salmah. After I think there's an area I would like you to clarify. You said that members should go to the site first of all. Now they should seek an admission in the university first. Then after getting an admission, what I would have wanted you to connect the dots is, what's the dot between a UK university and Commonwealth scholarship? Because securing admission in the UK university, I'm not sure it's the same as securing Commonwealth scholarship. Do you seek the admission in the university first? After seeking that and getting it, then you will now notify them at Commonwealth that you've gotten it, or how does it relate?
Yes, there are 2 different things, like you rightly said, but you need to secure the admission first, because most of those schools that run those programs also have connections with the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth partners with the schools, and that's why you need to go and seek an admission first, because it's not all schools that the Commonwealth partners with. So you might be interested in a particular course in a particular school, and you check their own the list of schools they have, and you don't find it there. You understand? So oftentimes, by the time your notification is going to come out, it might even come from the school directly, that okay, you've been chosen as a Commonwealth scholar to study this particular course during this particular time. So the most important thing is you need to secure the admission. Once you secure, when you are filling your Commonwealth form, part of the things that would be requested is if you have an admission from a UK university or not. And they would expect you to even attach your offer letters from those universities. At times you might have unconditional offers, at times you might have conditional letters. Whichever offer you have, just for the Commonwealth to know that, okay, you have started the process of trying to secure an admission in a UK university, then it's important for you to they would request that you attach an offer letter. during your Commonwealth scholarship application. So it's very key that you secure an admission in a UK university. Then you can then proceed to apply for the Commonwealth scholarship.
Okay, thank you very much. If I get you properly, you said that there's currently an offer on ground that ends in November. So today is 15th, I think, or 16th. So that's like 2 weeks away from that program ending. Is it possible to apply now and still expect a reply by that November 1?
Okay, to apply to a UK university or to apply for the Commonwealth scholarship. Well, it's the Commonwealth scholarship that is ending by November 1. 2 weeks, basically, I doubt would be enough because this particular offer that is on ground is Commonwealth Master's Scholarship. And it's the kind of scholarship that you have to apply through through some agencies in your country. So, like for this particular one, though you're applying to Commonwealth, but you have to apply through the Scholarship Board of Nigeria. You understand? You're not applying to the Commonwealth directly for this one that ends in November 1. So I doubt this 2 weeks time because to secure a UK admission and then to apply to the Scholarship Board and all that, I doubt if 2 weeks should be enough. Basically, you'll probably need up to like 4 to 6 weeks to be able to juggle all that.
Oh, okay. So thank you very much for that. So it seems that this information is coming in a little late. However, are there ways we could be abreast of this information as they come forward so that we have enough time to apply and not getting to know few weeks or days prior to it coming to an end?
Well, yes, I guess the information is out there. Everybody gets it. Just that when we get information, we should try to publicize it as much as we can. I'm sure by the time these scholarships come, people get hold of this information. They usually put it out there. Or occasionally, we can just always check the Commonwealth scholarship site, and then we'll be abreast of such information. The Distance Learning Master's Scholarship, the application usually comes out around March, April. So that would be another one to be on the lookout for. That one is distance learning, which means you are in your home country, but you are running a master's program over there. So I think for this other one, in case, and there is no harm in trying anyway, even for this particular one, so that you are well abreast of how the process goes. Even if you are unable to complete it, by the time the application is out next year, you'll be familiar with it and it will be an easier process for you to do.
Okay, thank you very much. Then another question I would like to ask is that you said that not all UK schools are in partnership with Commonwealth. So does this mean that does this mean that is there a site where we can check schools that are not in relation to Commonwealth and those that are not? How do we find out? How do we find this out?
So you will get that when the advertisement for that particular program is out. So if you have the advertisement, okay, Commonwealth Master Scholarship is out now, closing November 1st. So by the time you go to that site, they would tell you everything that you need to do. Because each year they review those courses, they review those schools. So it's not something that is fixed. You might find a course there last year and you don't find it this year. Or you find additional courses there this year. Or you find that there was a school there last year and the same school is not there this year. So the most important thing is once the advert comes out, just go to that particular site and then you find the steps on how to go about it. And if there are any issues, you can always contact people that have done it before to help you with it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Salmah, for that robust answer that you've given so far. So moving forward, we would like to know factors that boost the chances of an intending scholar. What I mean by this is that are there extracurricular activities, years of experience, associates, and all that can help a person clinch this scholarship?
Okay, yes. I think that there are some of those things you mentioned are things that would improve or increase your chances of being picked as a Commonwealth scholar. Like I said initially, publications are very important. They would always request if you have publications. So if you can find a way to have like one or two publications, try to work on it. That gives you an edge over somebody that does not have at all. Because like I said, the Commonwealth Scholarship basically is developmental. Their focus is they want to train skilled people on how to further develop their countries. So they are looking at how well you can make an impact in your own country. So if you have done some works, you have published them, they will be glad to go through it and okay, see, that gives you an edge. Then also they are also particular about volunteering works that you might have done, because there will be a part of the form online when you are filling it that they will ask you about about things that you've done in the past, probably leadership positions that you have held or volunteer programs that you have held and things like that. So those are things that would give you an edge during your application. And then we should also know that academics too is quite important. Most of the time they consider merit too. If you look at their selection criteria, they tell you academic merit too is of utmost importance. So that should also be something that we should work towards. So I think those are some of the things that would give you an edge. And then the essays or the write-ups you'll be requested to put up. They want to see how well you can make an impact when in your country by the time you are given that opportunity to study that particular course or to do that particular program. So you need to be able to convince them with your write-up as regards what it is that you want to do. So those are the things that give you an edge and increases your chances of being picked. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Salmah. So, in the end part of your last answer, you talked about academics. This now leads us to, if a person had 2-2 in school or had a third class, at this point it's already late, because most of the people that are in this group at this moment are graduates. So the ink is already dry on our certificates. So for this 2-2 or someone who has third class, how does this affect? But then we know that there are some doctors in this group at this moment. Like we all know in medical school, you either pass, have a credit, or you have a distinction. Of course, distinction is not common, but credit is either here or there. Not many people have credit, but then most of medical school is still with many passes. So having in mind that medical school does not have the regular grading criteria, and the regular universities do not have medical school criteria, how do intending members factor this in?
Well, for medical doctors, I think not having a distinct criteria like 2122 is going to be an advantage for us, because by the time you are filling your form, I think for that part, you just fill merit, which qualifies you. There is no 2-1 or 2-2 or third class for a medical doctor. It's either you finish with honors or you pass or you fail. So pass for a medical doctor is neither 2-1 or 2-2 no. So which I think puts you at edge over courses where you would have to state exactly that you had 2-1 or 2-2. Usually for the Commonwealth scholarship, depending on the type anyway, but most times they deal with first class or honors 2-1. Then I think I saw 2-2 for a particular application being allowed, but I have not seen any third class anywhere. But for doctors, I think we are good to go with our pass, since or honors if we have one.
Which is not common. Thanks to God. So, okay, so okay, so that is thank you very much for that answer. So as far as this essay is concerned, from what you said so far, you were saying some things like personal statement and all that. So how does one go about writing these essays? You know?
Okay, so as regards the essays, basically for the Commonwealth, I think you will need to write like 4. There is one on the developmental impact. The developmental impact basically wants to assess where you're coming from, what you hope to gain from the course that you have put in for, and how you intend to use what you have gained for the development of your community. Basically, that's it. So, well, for the essays, what I'll just advise is it's clearly stated what they want. From that, by the time they are filling the form and you get to that section, they will tell you what they want. So for development factor 1, write about this. Development 2, write about how the skills you have had or the skills you are going to get, how it's going to help you to achieve certain aims. 3, what are your 5-year plans? 4, what are your long-term plans? So the most important thing about this is you need to be very practical about your essays. You need to be able to convince them that what you want to do is actually something that is feasible. You don't want to write things that are abstract. You understand? Because like I said, it is developmental. So you are looking, it's always better to pick something simple, something in your environment within the course or the field that you are interested in, that you feel you can make an impact on in that particular area and write on. Usually they are not very long essays. They give you word limits. I think the maximum you can even write, some of them will just be 100 words. Some of them, I think maximum you can have is like 250 words. So what you do is you write those essays, and then I would advise that you give it to people to help you review them so that they'll be able to, there are people that are vast in these particular areas. Like I remember that when I was writing mine, I had to contact Dr Motayo, one of our doctors on the, one of our senior colleagues on the platform. So I had to send him my essays, and then he'll make corrections and write again, send it to him. So it's not something that you might really be able to say you just want to write and just put it forward. So just write, follow the intent, try to answer the question they have asked, and then give it to people to help you assess it so that you will be able to come out with the best, and last grace you would write something very good. Then there's also a personal statement too, that is also an essay that you need to write. Just everything talking about your background, where you're coming from, and where you're going to. Okay, for instance, I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist, so I studied medicine because I saw that there were a lot of issues with girl-child development, and then that was why I went into medicine, and more specifically to obstetrics and gynecology. So I intend to devote myself to help the reproductive health of females in the community, especially in a country like Nigeria, which is a low middle income country. They have little resources, a lot of rural areas, people are not informed. So things like that, you just try to coin out something and make it look very interesting. So I think that's the way to go about it as regards to essays.
Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Salmah, for that. So and now this now leads us to, after writing these essays and one has applied, how do they go about this review of this application? So having this in mind, so you know exactly, you have an idea of how to prepare for their own review.
Well, there's no way. You just do your own application, and then you continue to pray that they get back to you. Like I was picked the second time. I applied last year. I applied under 3 schools last year, but I didn't get any any reply from Commonwealth. I already had admissions from those two schools, from the three schools in the UK. Two of them were unconditional, one was conditional. Conditional in the sense that they wanted me to do IELTS. The other two schools didn't want me to do, they didn't require IELTS. So, but I didn't hear anything from the Commonwealth. I tried liaising with the school to find out if they are aware about any such things, but they informed me that the Commonwealth scholars have already been picked. So it wasn't like they even got back to me to say that, okay, you were picked or you were not picked. So I think once you don't get any feedback from them, it probably means you were not one of the people they picked. But for this year, I applied through two schools and I got a reply. So even if you apply for as many schools as possible, the Commonwealth will only sponsor one of it. And they are the ones that would use their discretion to pick which one they want to sponsor. So you might like a particular school and then they give you another school. Or you might prefer a particular course and then they give you probably another course that you have picked in another school. So all those ones are not things that you can influence. Your own is just to follow the guidelines, do their the normal application, and then hope for the best.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan, Dr. Salmah, for that, for those answers that you provided. It's been really enlightening. May Allah reward you for doing this with us. So at this point in time, I'll be calling on our amiable senior, Dr. Ismail, also a Commonwealth scholar. He is the chairman of the alumni committee, a consultant. Would like to call on him if he has additions to what our senior has said already. Hello, Dr. Ismail.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Well, I would have loved it if you had specific questions for me, so that it will be easy to address the concerns.
Okay. So far as it stands, Dr. Salmah has been able to exhaust most of the questions we have at this point in time. However, what we are looking to get from you is an addition. If there is any addition you would like to add before we move to other agenda.
Okay, there is someone that is saying she has some questions to ask. But let me just go to what you have asked me to do. Firstly is that let me thank our academic committee for putting up this wonderful program. I am certain that it's going to go a long way to assist our brothers and sisters, our colleagues, who also are trying to grow in their career and are pursuing academic excellence. I remember somebody asked a question before about Commonwealth sponsoring families. Yeah, they do sponsor families only if you are a PhD applicant. If you're a PhD student, they have some stipends. They have some stipends for your spouse and also for your kids, but that's only if you're a PhD student. And the amount that they sponsor is well stipulated. Now, another question that somebody asked was about what will boost your chances of being picked for this scholarship. The first thing is that they want to see someone that has demonstrated a track record of academic excellence. That means that your BSc degree, your undergraduate degree, your master's degree, if you're applying for PhD, should really be solid. You should have a good grade, because at the end of the day, in their selection criteria, there's going to be a mark awarded for each of those criteria, and there'll be something for your undergraduate degrees. So you want to have a good record in your academics. Secondly, is that it will appear to me that for those of us in medicine, that they want to see someone that has demonstrated some kind of commitment to his chosen career. You see, all the people that I know that have won and this Commonwealth scholarship, that are our colleagues, some are SRs, some are young consultants. During my own time, I think about 5 or 6 of us were all consultants. And then there was one person that was an SR in cardiology in UCH that won the scholarship. So they want someone that has, you have done some work in your chosen area. You have an experience because in your write-up, all these things are going to be included in your write-ups, and they want to see that this is what you have been doing. It's not someone that you just wake up one day and then let's say all the while you've been working on, let's say you've been working in pediatrics, and then you now see a program in geriatrics, in the UK, and you want to apply. You see, those things, it doesn't show commitment, it doesn't show any passion. No matter what you write, you're never going to be able to convince them that you have an interest in geriatrics. Meanwhile, for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, you've been working in pediatrics. So they want to see that commitment towards a particular cause. Then you can never overemphasize the importance of good references. And that means that you need to have a very good relationship with your teachers, because as part of referencing, you are not only academic reference, you also need professional reference. So you need people that can write very good references for you. And that's why I said that you need people that got your back as we speak, as we say. For example, you cannot compare someone writing, let's say, a very watery letter for you and say, okay, I've known this person for 5 years, he's a good student, he's brilliant, he's intelligent, and he's smart. I think he's good for your career. I think he's good for the course. No. There's some people that really go to your qualities. They will talk about how they have met you, how you have been doing over the years, talk about your qualities, your strengths. They also mention your weaknesses. And then they will also mention that yes, they are recommending you for the scholarship. So references too are very, very important. And then your own plan, as Dr. Salmah said, they're going to ask you about your short-term plan. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? They're going to ask about long-term plan. They're going to ask about how you intend to benefit your home country. And you must be able to say all these things in a convincing way. So you need very good writing skills. You need to be able to write very well. And after writing, you can also consult people that are good writers that can help you to to review your write-ups. Dr. Salmah mentioned Dr. Larry Omotayo. I can tell you that I also used him. He helped me a lot when I was writing my own essays. And then Professor Elias, I cannot thank her enough. We'll sit down, we'll talk over the night, we'll review my application, review my essays. Professor Akintola also, and one other professor that was in Louvre. They really helped me a lot. So you need good references. You can never overemphasize the importance of references. Yeah, then there's one more thing that Dr. Salmah, she didn't mention. In Commonwealth, there is what we call Commonwealth Share Scholarship. That means it's a scholarship that is funded by both the Commonwealth and the host university, the school that is that will be taking your study. So you shouldn't just limit yourself to the government, to the one that you apply to the federal government or through the federal government scholarship board. You can also, because if you go through the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, that might be more transparent. Because if you go through the federal government, there's a lot of there could be some the Nigerian thing that will affect your chances. But if you also give yourself the opportunity of being chosen by the Commonwealth Share Scholarship, then your chances are better. Although during my own time, I heard that since Buhari came on board, the efforts at the Federal Government Scholarship Board are more transparent, because the UK government threatened to withdraw Commonwealth Scholarship from Nigeria because the previous scholars were not measuring up to par, during their programs. But since Buhari came on board, a lot of revolution, changes were made, and people that were deserving, were chosen. So I think you have some chances also. But just to boost your chances, you could look at that and also look at the Commonwealth Share Scholarship. So I think that is what I have for now. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that elderly advice. So, if you have any question that you'd like to ask at this point, just type it in the chat box.
Dr. Aro, please, can they signify to save time? We don't have so much time.
One of the questions I'm okay.
Then,
so I think one of the questions that's in the comment here is, it says for a PhD scholarship, Commonwealth PhD scholarship, how do I write a research outline and detailed plan of study? Dr. Ismail, do you have any insight for us there?
Well, as per PhD, usually what they require of you are clearly written on, in the program of study, in the program you intend to study, and I will presume that different from one course to the other. But what I can see generally is that usually many schools will need you to have identified your supervisor, and your supervisor should be someone that is working in your area of interest. You identify a school, identify a supervisor, identify your area of interest, and then you can now start, you can start communicating with him, and if you see there's a space, you can go on and apply. As about the nature of your writing, I must admit that I don't know much about that, but I know that what I know is that you're going to need to talk about your area of interest, the question, your research interest, what you seek to to unravel, or basically how you're going to add to the scientific knowledge in that area. So I guess that people that are PhD students or PhD holders, they can guide more about that.
Okay, if I may add to what Dr. Ayobami Ismaila said, we also plan later on to have a session with one of our esteemed colleague, Dr. Abioye, who is a PhD holder from Harvard, and Dr. Masoud Domotayo, who is an associate professor, I think, in Harvard also. We plan on having a session with them about how to organize a research and writing research program. So if you'd keep your ears on the ground, like we say, you should get further information about writing research projects and other things like that in the nearest future. There is another question here that says, does publication with no declaration of interest count? All publications count. It's just that if you declare any conflicting interest, your publication carries more weight. I think with publications, what they are more looking forward to is, has it been published, and in what magazines have it been published? Obviously, if you're publishing a research in the Lancet, it's quite different from if you're publishing it in your medical school journal. So the journal in which you publish it is what matters, and how much review the publication gets. For a word limit, another question, for a word limit of 250, how much do you suggest I write? Well, if there's a word limit of 250, from my little experience, you should use all those 250. What would you say, Dr. Salmah or Dr. Ismail?
Yeah, don't write more than 250. Whatever you write, it should be more than 250.
Yeah.
There's usually a plus or minus of about 10% or thereabout, but don't write more than 250. Then, as for publications, you see, just like Dr. Lekan Lawal said, Yeah, you need to have published papers, but you don't have to be a first author. What I advise is that just attach yourself to any group that is known for publishing, and you guys should just and just even if you just one paper, try and do something. All they want from you is to demonstrate that interest, that commitment to that area. Because imagine if you have published a paper, one or two or three in a particular area, and you're also seeking for a scholarship to do a master or a PhD in that area, you know this person is serious, and they'll give you a priority over someone that has the same thing with you but doesn't have any publication. So I think even if just one, just try.
And someone else asked a question up here saying something about IELTS and TOEFL. Are they required for the Commonwealth scholarship?
Okay, well, as regards the Commonwealth scholarship does not require IELTS or TOEFL. It's the schools that you apply to that might require either IELTS or TOEFL. Like I mentioned the other time, that like I applied to 3 schools. 2 of the schools did not ask me anything. One just asked about letter of proficiency from your school. So I went back to LASUCOM and got the registrar to write a letter for me. Another one didn't really request anything specific about English, but one of the schools, University of Edinburgh, requested for IELTS. Despite the fact that they gave me the admission, they made it a conditional offer that is conditional to when I eventually write the IELTS and get a band of 7 or 6.5, I can't remember. So, but for the Commonwealth itself, you don't require IELTS or TOEFL. It's the schools that might require the IELTS or TOEFL or any of the English exams. Thank you.
Okay, so Sister Sabina Wahab, if you go ahead and ask your question, please. So if you unmute yourself and ask your question, Sister Wahab. Yeah, go ahead and ask your question. Okay, while we're waiting for the sister to ask a question, someone else asked, what can I do if the space given for publication is not sufficient for the length of my publication title?
You should use your best publications, your best papers. You should include your best papers. That means what I'm saying, if you have internationally published papers, then you should use those ones ahead of the ones that are local.
Okay. Sister Sabina? Sister Sabina? Okay. Sister Fatima Ojuade? You can unmute yourself and ask your questions. So someone asked a question, how can we get a recording of this meeting? Dr. Aminat, you or Dr. Aro, any answers?
We'll have to hear from Dr.
Okay,
Aminat.
Dr. Sister Sabina, go ahead.
Okay.
Hello.
Ask your question. We can hear you.
I don't have any
Sister
other
Sabina,
question
can you go ahead with your question? We can hear you clearly.
Oh, thank you.
Oh. Okay. For the link to the recording, we hope to make that available. So if you ask via the channels where you got the advert for the information about the program today, the links will be made available via those channels also. So in your various academic committee WhatsApp or on Telegram group. The links will be there. Also, if you send an email to admin@academiccommittee.lama.org, we would reply you and send you a link of the recording. So, Dr. Aro, back to you. I don't think I can see any further questions here.
Okay. So okay. Thank you everyone for this.
There are two more questions in the chat box.
Okay, so let's see.
Okay.
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 Okay, there's one question. Can I go ahead?
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
So there's one question that says, when applying to schools, I noticed MBBS is not part of the degrees, and medicine and surgery as a course for schools in the UK. What can one do about this? Well, I really don't remember not having MBBS in those drop boxes when applying. The one I know I had issues with was whether it was 2-1 or 2-2 that one had, and then that one eventually I got information that you just pick merits for it. But as regards the schools, are you sure that you've exhausted all the options on the drop box that you have on that particular for that particular question? Because I think MBBS is the common certification, or the right NBCHB that some schools have.
I think
So I don't know if Dr. Ismail has a contribution as regards that.
If I can clarify a bit, I think the person is asking that MBBS is not part of the degree. Aspiring is not a degree that you apply to. If I understand very well, for the postgraduate courses, you need a specialty, not MBBS. So you can apply for a master's in orthopedic surgery, master's in hematology, master's in pediatrics, but not master's in MBBS. Yeah, although I do know that some universities do a doctorate degree in medicine, but you do need to specify what you want to study in rather than MBBS. MBBS is usually the degree you're coming with. So if the brother wants to clarify his question, is he asking that MBBS is not a degree, it's not part of the degree that you can study in, or is he saying that MBBS is not one of the degrees you can submit as a requirement? I don't know, Dr. Ismail, do you have anything to say to that?
Well, the question to me is not really clear. What I understand from that question is that the person wants to apply to study MBBS. And I'm not, and if that is the question, I don't think Commonwealth is sponsoring MBBS program, because number one, it's not a master's program, it's not a PhD program. You can apply to study for a specialty in MBBS, but not MBBS itself.
Okay, and I think there's another question that says there's a PhD Commonwealth scholarship that says it doesn't accept direct application except through nominating body. Can you shed some more light on that, Dr. Ismail or Dr. Yusuf?
Well, that's probably what I was saying before, that usually for PhD programs, the school must have accepted you and given you an offer of admission. And they are the ones that will, in fact, for some schools, they sponsor the PhD program directly. And for the Commonwealth, they are the ones that will say that we have accepted this person as our student, and they will be recommending to Commonwealth, and Commonwealth will now sponsor. So, and that's how it is for many PhD programs. It is the school will accept you based on your research interest and securing the consent of a potential supervisor.
Okay. In addition, can I add something, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Sister Salmah.
Okay. So, like, The Commonwealth, there are different programs for the Commonwealth. There are about 6 or 7 different programs. So there is the Commonwealth PhD scholarship. There is the Commonwealth Split Life scholarship, I think. One of them is just similar to the Commonwealth shared scholarship for masters, like that Dr. Ismail mentioned the other time. And that one, the Split Life one, is the PhD program that you learn directly with Commonwealth. While there's this other one that you have to go through nominating agencies, like you have for the Commonwealth Master Scholarship. And I think that application too is currently ongoing right now. So what I would say is there are different options. You can give it a try. And if it comes into be fine, if it doesn't, you can look out for there's another PhD Commonwealth scholarship that requires you to just link directly with Commonwealth rather than going through nominating agencies in your country. Thank you.
Okay. So, any further questions? Dr. Aro, there's this perception that the Commonwealth scholarship usually require that after you finish your program, you have to return to your home country to serve. Do you care to share more light on this?
Well, it's actually a condition that you must accept while after you have been offered the Commonwealth scholarship, you must return to your home country within 30 days of completion of your program. That's what they say. I know that sometimes, if you flout it, they might not run after you, but you can never tell when the hand of the Lord is going to catch up with you. It may have to do with visas and immigration and things like that. But I know that the condition is that you must return to your home country within 30 days of completing your program. Now, after return to your country, you might ideally because the whole essence of the scholarship for you to go and develop your home country. So if you now return back to your country and decide to now go to another place, maybe after a month or 2 months or 3 months, well, that will be that's your own decision really. Although they're going to be sending you periodic emails, to assess your impacts, on return, on completion of your study, how you have been able to impact your environment, the successes you have recorded, the challenges and things like that. But all that one, as far as I'm concerned, is after you have already gone and already enjoyed the scholarship. Whatever happens next, it's your business,
Okay, so Doctor, thank you very much for that answer. So let's assume now that over the 2 years of someone being in the UK to have a master's program done, one now writes some exams that allows you to practice in the country. So does that mean that they will start, from what you just said now, they will not chase one around, but nobody can say when the long arms of the law will catch up with such a person? So does this mean that if you pass the licensing exams to work there, you still can't do that? You still can't stay and work?
Well, I don't think so. The issue is just that, you see, when these people say this is what they want, if people say this is what they want, we just take it that that's what they really want, really. But if you decide to do PLAB, for instance, and you now stay back, first is that I would advise, if you want to do PLAB, you should do PLAB and then come back to Nigeria or go back home within the 30 days that you are allowed. And then after 30 days, you cannot decide to go back to the UK. And they're not going to chase you around for that. That I'm very sure. Now, if you now decide to go to another country, or you stay back in the UK, definitely you won't be able to apply for a PhD program in, from scholarship, from Commonwealth again, because you already, unless if you can demonstrate that after your masters, you return to your country and then you now apply it again from your country for the PhD. But if you don't even be needing them again, fine. It's your business, really. I'm sure you will get away with it.
Sorry, can I add a
Okay,
little
does
bit?
that mean like
Okay, Dr. Saka.
Okay, sorry. I think what Dr. Aro has asked is a question that people would. We are talking more about the immigration aspect of all of those things. Now, in most situations, when you finish, when you go there to the UK on a scholarship, you can transit from that your student visa onto a work visa if you have got a job. But if you were sponsored on scholarship, you need to get an exemption from the sponsoring body to say they are exempting you, and then that's when you can get a work visa. So like Dr. Ismail has said, in that situation you have to get back to Nigeria and then process things that same way, so you don't get into trouble. I hope that clears that particular aspect. So it doesn't say you shouldn't write your PLAB
Thank you
exams,
very much for
but
that.
you will get to a point where if that organization doesn't give you that exemption, then you cannot get a work visa and remain in the UK.
okay, Jazakumullah for that. So that leads us to the next item we have here, and that involves application review slots for 6 people. In the chat box already, I posted an email there. If you want your application to be looked up by our seniors here, 6 people have a chance to have that done. So I already sent the mail to the chat box, so you can look it up, copy it, go ahead to work on your applications, and then you send it. So 6 people will be reviewed there. Thank you very much. So at this point, I will be calling on Dr. Amina to give a closing remark.
Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alamin. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Now, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that attended this webinar. It wouldn't have been possible without your presence. Special thanks to our speakers, Dr. Salmah and Dr. Ismail, for sacrificing their time, wealth of knowledge, and experience. And for also going further to say they will assist us with the whole application and everything. We say thank you and we are so grateful. This vote of thanks would be largely incomplete if I don't thank the chairman of the academic committee, Dr. Rashid Lawal, for his guidance and support all through the planning of this webinar. I'm so grateful, sir. May Allah bless you abundantly. I also want to say special thanks to my colleague, Dr. Ridwan Mojid, and my senior colleague, Dr. Odetinde Ali, for their immense contributions towards the success of this webinar. May Almighty Allah meet you in your times of need. To Dr. Aro, I'm saying a big thank you for coming through at the very last minute. Jazakumullah khairan. And I want to implore everyone to make the best of what they've learned here today. If you're undecided, please decide. If you need help with your application or in any other way, you can reach us through the through the mail in the chat box. We'll get back to you. Bismillah. Thank you all for coming and have a lovely afternoon. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, so we're done.